So, in today's news, we have Senator Kamala Harris talks about making a new tax credit for people who make under $100,000 a year and repealing some of Donald Trump's tax plan that doesn't benefit those who are living under $100,000 a year. And also, John Bolton and John Kelly get into an argument today that was very heated at the White House. And we're going to talk about this transgender woman who broke her opponent's skull in an MMA fight. So, starting off with Senator Kamala Harris's new plan. So, she is proposing this tax credit for taxpayers that make under $100,000 a year. So, if you're single, she wants to give you a $3,000 tax credit. And if you're married, she wants to give you a $6,000 tax credit. Now, she wants this to be available to you at all times throughout the year with a maximum withdrawal of $500 per month, obviously, until you reach that $3,000 or $6,000. And also what she wants to do is impose fees on financial institutions with assets of $50 million or more. Now, nobody knows how much this is going to cost as of now. And something that is a little concerning to me is the lack of awareness that goes into something like this. Because she is stating that basically she wants to do this and repeal some of Donald Trump's tax plan that doesn't benefit people under $100,000 a year. So some of those tax plan initiatives that Trump has that are helping wealthier people out as far as things with the estate tax and lowering corporate taxes have actually helped out the country more than they have hurt the country. And so to me, it seems a little naive, especially on a senator's behalf, to believe that imposing more taxes on these people will be beneficial for the country as a whole, because as we see throughout history, when you impose larger taxes on wealthy people, they typically move their accounts overseas. And so if you lower taxes and make it more appealing to stay in the United States to do their business or just keep their money in the United States so that way they don't get taxed as much, then obviously you're going to generate more money in taxes. And a majority of the government's income comes from income taxes. And us not knowing how much this will cost, it doesn't really seem like it'll probably be a good plan, simply because this could cost more than it'll help out people as a whole. Now, there was this other article in The Hill that I think explains very nicely why this isn't the greatest of plans. And so basically, what they found here is that only the top 3% of taxpayers chip in more than the entire bottom half of the population. So 1,400 tax filers pay more than 70 million households combined. So we're talking about the top 1% that everybody talks about and everybody dogs. Well, people on the left extremely bash them simply because they make a lot of money and they've done a lot of right things in their life and they were disciplined to achieve that kind of economic success that most people aren't disciplined enough or have the know-how to do. And the thing with that is they pay for most of the government taxes. They pay the most taxes, so they help out contributing to these social net programs that other people like you and I probably don't really contribute to, simply because I don't make that much money, and so I don't contribute that much. Because what this study has found is that 70% of the total for income taxes comes from the revenue from income taxes comes from the top 10% of earners. Now, the top 1% of earners actually contributes 90%. The bottom half of earners contribute just 3%. So more than likely, you and I, who are not wealthy, are only contributing 3%, while the wealthy people are contributing larger sums of money to the government than we are. Yet, we think we should tax them more, which to me is completely asinine because, like I've already stated, why would they then keep their money here when they're going to be taxed heavily and not take it overseas? This is something that the tax plan Trump has implemented has helped bring money back into America. Actually, within the next decade, they're predicting it's going to bring a total of about $339 billion. And as of now, it's already brought in an additional $14 billion. And so it's just really insane that she would even want to tax these people more because, as we see, they carry most of the load for the nation when it comes to supporting our military, our social net programs, really anything else that the federal government does with their, with the tax revenue is predominantly coming from the wealthier individuals in our society. But yet we still want to punish them, which doesn't make any sense to me. Now, another thing I want to add is that the companies that she does want to increase taxes on or impose fees for having $50 million in assets or more is also equally as insane because they have approximately right now $2.6 trillion overseas because of the stringent tax laws that are over here in America and how high they are. They find better deals to keep their money overseas. Whereas if we lower the tax laws, if we lower the taxes, then obviously they would spend their money here and keep their money here, which is what the tax plan from President Trump has done, has effectively moved more money here than was overseas. So this is something that's been proven throughout history, that if you make it more favorable for the wealthy to stay in your country, then they're going to stay in your country and invest in the country. So why would we want to keep punishing them? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think, however, I must say that I do believe that Senator Kamala Harris does have good intentions by trying to help out the needy, people who make under $100,000, by providing them tax credits. Hell, when I read the article, I thought this would be a fantastic idea. I would love to have an additional $6,000 simply because I make under $100,000 a year, and being able to withdraw up to $500 a month until I reach that $6,000 limit would be a beautiful thing. But in reality, it would hurt more than it would be beneficial. So it would help me in the short term, but in the long run, it'll probably hurt the country a lot more, which will then hurt me because if the country doesn't do well and the economy doesn't do well, then I can't do well, which then means you can't do well. So it just doesn't make too much sense to me for this bill, for her plan to be implemented. However, there hasn't been any word on how much it'll cost yet. So maybe it'll be cost effective. I highly doubt it. I really do not think it's going to be cost effective, because anytime that we extend the social programs, it only hurts our economy more than it benefits it. So that's what's going on with Senator Kamala Harris, and I don't really agree with it, and I think that we should also stop bashing the wealthier individuals because they are carrying most of the load when it comes to paying the government. Now, in other news, National Security Advisor John Bolton and Chief of Staff John Kelly get into a heated match. Now, I'm reading this article from CNN, and what they are guessing this dispute to be over is the migrants coming from the southern border, from Honduras and other places as well, which Donald Trump is siding with John Bolton to potentially close off the border and stop taking in people that are coming in from this migrant caravan. But there is no definite on what's going on. There's no for sure answer as to why this dispute happened. There have been speculations that one of the two men are going to resign, even though that it doesn't look like that. As of right now, we don't have any answer as to whether or not either will resign. Now, I do want to add that there has been a lot of controversy about Donald Trump's statements regarding closing off the southern border due to the new migrant caravan that's coming across. Because I have heard that, and I have seen videos of people getting paid to join this caravan. So it isn't like it's an absolute necessity and they are fleeing danger. They're actually getting paid to leave. So it's just a little suspicious to me that these people are being paid to join the caravan. Who's behind this? Who's paying them? And Laura Ingraham over Twitter threw out speculation that it was like $7,000 per person that $7,000 a person was being paid to get on this caravan. I don't know if that's true at all. This is just what I've seen. And then Newt Gingrich did the math, and it equated to about $21 million is what that caravan's worth. So if this is true, then it does seem somebody is paying these people to travel to the United States, and you have to wonder, why are they paying them? Are they paying them so that way they can enter the United States with money at their disposal to work on creating a better life? Or are they getting paid to try to, I guess, basically slander Trump and push the idea that he's anti-immigration and xenophobia, things of that nature? I don't really know. The conspiracy side of me, the conspiracy theorist side of me, tends to want to believe that this is some malevolent plan, but I don't know, so I can't say for sure. So I guess we'll have to keep up with that story and see how that unfolds. Now, that's what's going on in the White House right now. And the last story I want to get to for today is a transgender woman is an MMA fighter. Now, this is an older story, but I just came across it. It's 3 years old, but I think it still holds significant relevance today, considering the conversation and controversy that we have against transgender, that we have going on for transgender people and men and women in specific. So this transgender woman, Fallon Fox, beat her female opponent, or his female opponent, however you want to look at it, Tamika Burns, so severely that she suffered a broken skull and concussion before being TKO'd. And then, this is a quote from Tamika Burns. It says the following: "I fought a lot of women, and I've never felt the strength that I felt in a fight as I did last night. I can't answer whether it's because she was born a man or not, because I'm not a doctor. I can only say I've never felt so overpowered in my life, and I am abnormally strong female, and I am an abnormally strong female in my own right. I still disagree with Fox fighting. Any other job or career, I say have a go at it. But when it comes to combat sports, I think it just isn't fair. Quite frankly, I agree with her. My wife and I had a discussion about this, and we both agree with her, simply because it is no secret that males are more physically superior than women. And that isn't a misogynist thing to say. This is just true biological facts. For instance, it's a biological fact that women can conceive a child while men can't. And it's a biological fact that I can lift more weights than my wife can, or probably more, lift heavier things than most women on this planet. I'm sure that there's probably 1 or 2, 10, 20 women that are stronger than me. I'm sure. But they're the anomaly. It's not the normal. And so, to me, I think this is very sickening to have a transgender woman to fight against an actual woman. And this narrative that men and women are the same, I think, is truly demeaning to women as a whole, because what they're saying is that in order to be more of a woman, you have to be more like a man. When real feminism is about empowering women for being women in their own unique ways. That's the beauty of diversity right there. And if you're really all for diversity, then you should be pushing the unique aspects of a woman, and you should be pushing the unique aspects of a man. You shouldn't be equating the two and saying that they're equals. I think that is wrong, and I think it's disgusting. And quite frankly, what happened here should be a good example as to why we shouldn't allow transgender women to compete with actual women, because it just isn't fair. Because then the women, 99% of the time, are not going to win, and then the actual women are going to be at a huge disadvantage. Which, if you really are for empowering women, then you wouldn't want this kind of thing to happen. Because really what happened was a man fighting a woman. That's really what happened here. And I mean, I can even say this. So I wrestled in high school. And so I had to wrestle a girl in my weight class one time. I wrestled 152 my senior year, and it was the first time I've ever wrestled a female in my life. And going into it, it was like, well, what the hell do I do? Like, Do I go easy? Do I wrestle like I would wrestle with another guy? Like, what do I do here? You know, it was kind of confusing. And now some of you may say, well, that's sexist. You're saying you have to go easier on her. Well, you just know before going up against them that you can just tell by looking at them that the physical strength isn't the same. The physical build isn't the same. And so going into the match, this was probably my quickest match ever. I pinned her in probably about 20 seconds. Why? Because I figured, what the hell? You want to wrestle, so I'll treat you as an equal. And that's what happens. And I rarely have I ever seen a woman wrestling in high school put up a match with their male counterparts. Now, obviously, once again, there are your anomalies where there are some badass chicks that are dominating at the 103, 112, 119 weight classes. Of course there are. Of course there are, but they're far few and in between. And so, but I guess it's their prerogative to do that. If they want to go ahead and wrestle, they should be able to. But I don't think that it's necessarily fair for them to be wrestling against guys, because it's just not. There's too much difference there when it comes to strength. And so seeing this right here, and I can't even believe that they would allow this to even happen. And also there's another story, I believe, about a transgender woman, once again, winning this race or cycling match, racing with all these other women. What's going to happen is that people are going to start, well, men are going to say, well, I can't win in a male-dominated field, so if I become a transgender woman, I can become a superstar in the women's field. That's what's going to happen. People are going to abuse the system because it's going to be easier for a man to beat a woman when it comes to physical sports. That's just the fact. I don't even know why that's a controversial thing to say. So I think it's really disgusting that we're even allowing this to take place. I think it's this transgender woman is disgusting. In any other situation, this person would go to prison. In any other situation, this man who turned woman would be in prison right now for beating the living hell out of this chick in any other circumstance. So it's kind of disgusting, but that's what we have for today. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And like always, if you have any suggestions on something you would like me to do, please let me know. Send them my way, and I would love to cover the story. And tomorrow, we're going to be doing a special episode. I'm going to be covering a suggestion I got from one of my listeners to go over this article that he sent me regarding AI. So I'm going to be doing the episode on that tomorrow as opposed to covering the news cycle. And moving forward, that's actually my plan, is that Saturday and Sundays, I'm going to keep doing what the podcast originally was as far as covering the advancements that are happening in today's world and why it's the greatest time to be alive. And then on Fridays, I'm going to cover a topic that the listeners provide me. So if you guys have any suggestions, send them my way and I'll dedicate Fridays to covering your suggested topics. But Monday through Thursday, we'll be sure to cover the news cycle. So I hope you all have a great day. Peace.